This is Bean to Barstool, a podcast that looks at the intersections of craft chocolate, craft beer, and other artisan drinks. My name is David Nilsson. I'm a professional drinks writer, an advanced cicerone, the author of Pairing Beer and Chocolate, and the creator and host of this show. The music for this episode is by my dear friend, indie folk musician Anna P.S. You can find out more about Anna's music in the show notes or on annapsmusic.com. You can find links and information about our guests in the show notes as well. I hope you enjoy this episode of Bean to Barstool. Elmer Pineda and his family grow cacao and make tree-to-bar chocolate in the mountains of Honduras. Taking their name from the volcanic crater lake where their chocolate factory is located, Yojoa Chocolate makes classic two-ingredient bars, as well as a range of inclusion bars that celebrate the agricultural bounty of their corner of the world. When I connected with Elmer over Zoom recently, a tropical rainstorm was drenching his property, and you might even be able to hear it in our conversation. Kind of helps set the scene. In this interview, we talk about the background of Yojoa Chocolate and their cacao farm, the natural landscape that provides so much flavor and inspiration to Yojoa's bars, the importance of not only fermentation, but also carefully controlled drying in flavor formation for cacao, and some of Yojoa's unique inclusion bars like Espresso and Anis Avocado. Here's my conversation with Elmer Pineda. Elmer, so good to be talking to you. I understand it's pouring rain there.
It is. It is. Yesterday it was so hot. It was like the first day of summer, probably. Really hot. First day of the year, really hot. But yesterday around this time, it came really stormy weather, like hurricane. It was just really windy. We were getting way too much heat. But I heard you guys up in the East Coast are getting a lot of snow, huh?
Yeah, we're getting a little bit. We're kind of on the edge of it. So we're not getting all of the snow, but there's a little bit outside right now. It's cold though.
What part of Ohio are you at?
Near Dayton.
So you're near London.
Yeah, exactly. London's who got me into craft chocolate originally.
Hey,
Yeah.
London was here August, I think it was. Yeah, she was actually just coming to Honduras, just to visit me, and then we go around, going to plantations, cacao plantations. But then I told her, you know what? She was coming in July, and I told her, London, can you just hold it for about a month and come for a festival, a chocolate festival? And she went to attended to the chocolate festival, and she was speaker at the chocolate festival. She loved it.
That's really cool. Well, at the outset, why don't you just introduce us to Yojoa? Tell us a little bit about the company and how you got started.
Thank you, David, again for the opportunity to get Yojoa Chocolate to your viewers. And this is a small chocolate factory in Honduras at the Yojoa Lake. We have 7 acres of cacao, not too far from our chocolate factory. We are the few companies, I think, in the world that we are tree-to-bar. So we make all 3 different types of chocolate: dark chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate, and different flavors. We always trying to innovate and to bring different flavors into the chocolate world.
And did you start the farm or did you buy an existing cacao farm or how did that work?
No, we started originally. We started with coffee, and what happened was the coffee was not working for us. We didn't feel that connection with coffee so much, and it was not working for us. So we decided to get rid of coffee and started doing the mahogany plantation. Well, we had the mahogany, and someone came with the idea that we planted cacao in the middle. So we have an agroforestry system, and we thought it was cool. And they came with the idea so that we can so that the plantation would be sustainable because of the money that cacao will provide. It will
Mhm.
help sustain the plantation, but it was not. It didn't work out like that because, you know, forest, wood forest, the tree,
Mhm.
mahogany, wouldn't need any maintenance at all after 2 years. Any, zero. Cacao needs working all year round and a lot of money. That requires people working all year round on it. And by the time came to harvest the cacao, it was not worth the effort at all. We were losing money. The price of the cacao bean, which is the price that is right now, it was a little lower. It was $3,800 a ton, metric ton. It was only 3,800. Yeah, $3,800. That wouldn't even cover the cost. So we were at a dilemma. We were either chop it down or try to make chocolate. And I started, doing the little things with the chocolate, with the first cacao beans fermented. I thought I was fermented, but I was not. I was really something else. But anyways, I went to an institution here. There are a leading. There's only like three in this part of the world. Katia, Pia, and the one in Trinidad and Tobago. I forgot the name of it. Pia, that's where I went to learn how to really do the post harvest. Starting to get the hang of it. Got I started to wake up a passion for it. And 2 years later, after making chocolate, bought me a little machine and started making really refined chocolate. We were playing with flavors, and we decided it was something that we could give it a try because we like it. First of all, it was not for the money because we wouldn't know how it was going to work. And we started making chocolate in our kitchen. And we used to live in the city, and we decided to came out with 7 different flavors. After like 15 flavors that we had, and giving it to people, and then we would see which one they like most. And we, on 2019, we launched 7 flavors. The Yojoa Chocolate came in the
Mhm.
market. We were invited that year to the Salon de Chocolate in Paris, and we were there, and we were impressed because we thought we only had a few months on the market. A few months, I'm talking about 3 months in the market, and people there would go and grab a piece of cacao, of chocolate, and start looking at it, and it would go against the light, smell it, and then put it in their mouth, let it melt, and I would be hiding my fingers because I was crossing my fingers. And my wife and I, we were really nervous. And people say, I will buy two of these, two of that. And that show it's a whole week, right?
Mhm.
By the middle week, we didn't have anything to
Oh,
sell.
wow.
Yes, it was very nice. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which are the days that you could barely walk in that place, we had nothing. We weren't just go get to know places around the city because the first thing was that we asked other attendees that went from chocolate makers that
Mhm.
went there, some Ecuadorians and Honduran, and they said, "Oh, don't take too many. Parisian, they don't. They just go for samples, and they don't spend much on chocolate. Right? They just like to eat the samples." So we only they say just to take one set. I took 200 bars, and I only sold like 50 or 100, and I have to sell the other half to an Italian guy that went there on Sunday and bought it all
Mhm.
for nothing. And we were kind of scared, and we took 400 bars and we sold them all. So it was a good experience.
Yeah,
And
that's
after,
great.
yeah, we were excited, and we sent the first bars on that same November. I think no, just after we came out, because by November 2019 we were awarded at the chocolate international chocolate award with a silver and a bronze. You said, "Wow!" So we are in the right direction,
Yeah.
and we started liking it, and we haven't stopped ever since.
That's fantastic. Well, you mentioned that you're near Yojoa Lake, so you're named for that. Tell us a little bit about the region that you're in, like the climate, the countryside.
Yes. See, this is a microclimate here. It's a Yohoa Lake. It's a dormant volcano, water volcano. So it's a lake in the middle of the crater.
Mm-hmm.
And there's three more volcanoes around us, smaller than Yohoa Lake. And uh, the soil here, to give you an idea, if you bag it, you put it in a small little sack like this, like 25 pounds of dirt from here,
Mm-hmm.
from Yohoa, it's very famous. You sell it for $10 on the city because it's very fertile, the soil here. It's really dark. It's like ashes. It's very dark, dark. And we are at the lake. It's in the middle, in the second and third highest mountain in Honduras are on the left, on the and the right, right in the middle of it. So we have an ecosystem, very rich, very diverse. So it's a very, very nice place to be and to grow all kinds of stuff. Because here, see, at Yojoa Chocolate, we are very proud to say that most, maybe 95% of all the ingredients, we grow it in our plantation, and the other part we buy it around because everything grows here. The pineapple that we use, the coconut that we use, the turmeric that we use, uh, bananas, wild bananas, everything grows here. And we have a 0 kilometer free. That's what we have.
That's amazing.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Are you right on the lake?
I'm looking at, in the lake, it's about 50 meters from here.
Wow.
So right here. We're right on the lake.
That sounds beautiful. Yeah, for sure.
We'll be right back.
Hey everyone. Getting a Cicerone certification is an amazing way to raise your beer knowledge and can be a game changer for your beer career. But how are you supposed to find the time to prep, and how are you supposed to know exactly what to study? Don't sweat, because the Beer Scholar has you covered. The Beer Scholar is a sponsor of Bean to Barstool, but I can tell you from personal experience years before I was doing this podcast how helpful the Beer Scholar study guides are. They offer efficient online courses for levels 1 and 2 that cover everything you need to know, tips and tricks for how to pass the exams, and include live weekly Zooms to taste and discuss classic beer styles together. They even have a new coaching program for the Level 3 Advanced Cicerone exam. I used the Beer Scholar study guide to pass my level 2 exam many years ago. I wish the level 3 had been around when I took that exam. I had to do it on my own. Wish their study guides had been available for that at the time. The vast majority of certified Cicerones in the world today have used Beer Scholar to help achieve the goal of passing that exam. If you are ready to take your beer career to the next level, visit thebeerscholar.com and check out their online courses. So you're making this all the way from planting the trees to harvesting it and seeing the process from beginning to end. Talk a little bit about how that influences your chocolate making to where you get to have your hands on every part of this. What does that benefit you?
Yes, I'll tell you one thing. What's the benefit and what is not the benefit? If I were to buy cacao, I would buy it for maybe a third of what my cacao that I produce costs. So my cacao is cost me a lot more because of the distance that I'm from my plantation, the transportation, and it's it's cheaper. For some reason, people are still not getting paid what they're supposed to be paid for their cacao because I know what it costs to produce a cacao bean. It's very expensive. The real price for a cacao bean here in Honduras, I'm going to talk about Honduras. It's about $5.50 a pound of cacao, not a kilo, a pound. That would be the real price. That's what my price is to produce a pound of cacao. But what I get a really satisfaction of producing our own cacao is that I have it sectioned it, and I have criollos in this corner, not near where the Trinitarios, or per se Trinitarios, they're not Trinitarios, they're clones that were developed here in Apia. I could separate everything, and I could get different flavors in our profiles, and I still keep them separated. And I said, I like this profile, like the more acrillados. I will not use it with pineapple. So I'll use it for something mellow like sesame seed and sea salt. I get to do that. I get to play with flavors and profiles, and that satisfaction I get versus me buying a whole sack of cacao beans. There, I didn't get to control any of the process.
Do you find that there's any predictability in, like, do you know trees or areas of your plantation or times of year that you're harvesting that's going to influence what the outcome of that cacao is going to be?
Exactly. Yes. We have we know cacaos almost per flavor profile. We know which ones produce more. We know once they're green, but we already know which ones are already ripe, even though they're green. And we know what the chocolate tastes like if we ferment that bean right. So we got it all. We mark the trees, and we know which ones we are going to start to prune and change the branches for a different flavor that will, or a different variety that will yield more cacao pod. And we do all that stuff. And I have right here at the chocolate factory, you are welcomed by maybe 30 different cacao trees that I call it a clone garden, because I study those. Those are new clones, different ones, and I see which ones they yield more. So what I do, and I cut the branches of those and do the grafting in my plantation. So the ones I see they already not yield for some reason, are not producing. So I graft it with the ones, and I could do all that stuff, play around with it.
That is so cool. That's fantastic. Getting to be that hands-on. Tell us a little bit about fermentation. What are you doing from fermentation standpoint there on the farm? That's anything unique or anything that you've had to learn along the way with that?
Oh, a lot of trial and error. I ruin a lot of stuff, but we used to. I used to try with different techniques, trying to flavor it, but I learned the hard way that it's not that way that you create different profiles. It's actually in the bean itself, the way you ferment it, yes, but it's the way you dry it. I People don't give too much importance to drying, but I think drying, for me personally, it has a little bit, I'd say 60% of your flavor profile is on drying, because if you start drying on the sun and walk away and go to do an errand, and in about an hour you don't turn that bean, you ruin it. You ruin it. So it'll seal up. It's like if you're on the grill, the steak, and you go and do something, and when you come back it's burned, and you'll burn on the outside all dark, and all the juices are still trapped inside. But outside it will be very dark. So what happened, same happened with the cacao bean. If you're not turning it every hour, at the most every hour, if you do it every half an hour, better, that bean, that is going to seal that, and all those acids that need to evaporate, they will be trapped inside. And after that, they just start getting flat instead of getting brown and nice. it'll get flattened up like a cone. So it's a very interesting. That's
That
why
is.
you cannot dry it like coffee. That you close the door and that room is like 70 degrees inside. That's what it gets that hot. Cacao, you need to lift up the walls of your drying, the solar drying. You lift up and you need all that air just flowing in there,
Hmm.
flowing in there because you don't want that cacao bean to be hot. You want it to be warm. And another thing is, when after they come out, this is an experiment I've been playing with, and I found out a Brazilian guy. I don't know if you heard of Bertus Esquit, but he talks about all these experiments he's doing. And the other day I mentioned it to him. I've been playing with it many years ago with drying cacao just with air, not taking it out on the sun,
Mm-hmm.
not until it's not. When you're out of the fermentation boxes and you touch the cacao, you get all full of this wet
Mm-hmm.
material. Well, if I when I put it on the drying table and put this big big fan just blowing air on the shadow, it'll start drying. But you need to be like every 15 minutes to half an hour the most. You need to start, mixing it up and move it. Otherwise, you will create yeast and fungus. You need to be quick and you do that from 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon,
Hmm.
and every day for about 15 days. But you only do that with the pan until the cacao bean is dry. You don't need that; it's not sticky anymore. So what happened is the cacao bean gets kind of dark, very dark, like chocolate dark. That that how dark it gets.
Uh-huh.
And the inside, all this time is like when you cook in a steak on a very, very low heat. So it gets the cacao beans instead of, even if it's a trinitary oil, if it is a CCM 51, it'll taste like it's a I would say a criolla.
Hmm.
Very subtle, smooth taste. Very
Wow.
nice. But it takes a lot more work to do it.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
a very,
fascinating. I don't
yes,
feel like I've heard people talk about the importance of drying quite that much. It seems like more like it's just a necessary part of the process to get to the next step. And you're talking about it as being really critical to the flavor.
very, because I ruined many batches. I think at the beginning I said, "Oh, I got it, very nice. I got it to 83%. I even like to do that and do my cutting test and look at the beans, and you could ruin it even a bad fermentation or bad drying. It could ruin it either way.
So, does doing that more gentle drying change what you're doing on the fermentation side? Do you adjust anything on fermentation knowing that you're going to be doing that for drying?
No, no, I do the fermentation the same way. I won't change it. I'll just I could either do regular fermentation. I mean drying. I could always play with the. I'd say I could always play with the fermentation also, because you could either do 24 hours and do the turn every 24 hours on fermentation, or do 24 and then 48, or start with 48 and do 24. You could do all kinds of variations, and you look, and it depends on the weather. But on the drying, yes, it doesn't it for me. It doesn't depend on how I fermented it. I just like it that way because
Yeah.
I like the flavor. Now, if I want to ferment it, I said these beans I wanted more to be have a more citric note, more intense, pineapple, orange, all these flavors. And I know that I have a pineapple and orange, so I want to do it. So just intensify the chocolate. Then I'll do the regular. I won't do that whole mellow batch on drying. So
Yeah.
I could play with that too.
Yeah. I was just going to ask if you adjust that to be able to get a little bit more intensity when you want it.
Yes, I play with it all the way out to conching because you play it also roasting. If I said maybe it turned out a little bit too citrusy, so what I'll do is I'll let it stay a little longer on the roasting. And on conching, if it's still a little bit in there that I want to get rid of, so I'll heat up the conching machine, and that will just dissipate a little bit more. And I could leave it there for longer, and it'll probably get close to almost nothing on that citrus flavor.
Mhm.
But you control those all the way up.
That's so cool. Well, let's talk about some of the bars where you are using other ingredients. You've mentioned quite a few things that are growing right around you. You said you started out in coffee. I know that you've got an espresso bar that's excellent. Are you sourcing local coffee for that? How are you doing that?
Yeah, our area that I mentioned is the second and the third highest peak in Honduras.
Mhm.
They known for really high quality coffee around the world, and so I get coffee from them, and it's really nice, and also ingredients. I grow pretty much everything here. That's in vanilla. We grow turmeric, coconuts. We grow ginger, the cinnamon. Pretty much everything grows here.
That's awesome. Vanilla is something that obviously can change quite a bit depending on where it's grown. What is the character of your vanilla like? What is that profile?
Yes, the vanilla that I'm using right now, and I like it. It's a vanilla that only grows in the southern part of Mexico, all the way up to Honduras, the western part of Honduras, and it's called Pompona. It's a very thick, kind of like a banana type,
Mhm.
but it's very aromatic, very nice. And actually, it's flowering season about to start.
That's cool.
We'll be right back.
Hey everyone. You may have noticed things in the world aren't awesome right now, and social media kind of reflects that. I built a lot of the following for Bean to Barstool and just for my own writing career on Instagram, but I've been getting significantly lower returns in terms of engagement on Instagram, and well, some of their recent changes don't have me thrilled for the future. So, here are some ways to keep up with Bean to Barstool if Instagram and other social media platforms don't prove to be long-term viable solutions. If you do nothing else, sign up for the Bean to Barstool newsletter. You can do that by going to beantobarstool.com/newsletter-sign up. That link is in the show notes. That is a weekly email newsletter that covers all the same things we cover here on the podcast. Speaking of, subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to Bean to Barstool, go there and subscribe to make sure you get notifications of new episodes. If you're a proud millennial like me and you still use an RSS feeder, you can also subscribe to our blog posts, which come out at least weekly. Also, if you are still on social media but don't love Meta right now, you can check me out over on Blue Sky. I'm on there under my personal account at David Nilsson Beer, but I do post all the Bean to Barstool content over there as well. Finally, if you want to get in touch with me directly, you can email beantobarstool@gmail.com. I am not leaving Instagram anytime soon, but these are great ways to make sure you can keep up with what I have going on. Stay safe and take care of each other. Well, you recently shared with me a story about the Anis avocado, and you were doing some storytelling around that. I got the chance to taste it for the first time at the Midwest Craft Chocolate Festival. I have never heard of the Anis avocado before in my life before you had me taste that bar. So tell us the story. What is the Anis avocado and how did you start using this?
See, Anis avocado, very special avocado because it's endemic from Honduras. I found out it is endemic because I asked many cacao growers from Central America and Mexico. We never heard of it. And you won't find a plantation of anise avocado. You will just find an anise avocado all throughout the mountain, probably, but not, you will not just find, they only grow in the forest in a wild form. And it's very nice brown avocado, and it's seriously, it has this kind of golden marks on the outside of the peel, and it's very round, and not that big. It's very small, and it has very intense. I only use 2% of it. 2%. I make sure that I don't use more than that because it's too intense. People here either love it or hate it because of the intensity. But it's an anise avocado that you'll find in the mountains. It's very easy to find if you go up in the mountains in the coffee plantations. We have one in our cacao plantation. So it's a very nice, and only it's like from January to February. That's the whole time of the season, and that's when you gotta pick them. And what I do, I have a advantage that I have a freeze dryer. So what I do, I get a whole bunch of them and freeze dry them. So they last a little longer. So I could probably will have anise avocado all the way up to June.
Is it popular in Honduras? Like, is this something that gets used in local foods?
Yes. People stop, at the fruit places on the road. People see anise avocado. Is that anise avocado? Yeah, they kind of wait for the season, anise avocado season, because there's not much of it, and you won't find it. A lot of people never heard of it, even in Honduras, or never tasted it.
Yeah.
It's very licorice, right? The taste
Yes.
is like it's very interesting, very interesting. It came out very creamy, I loved it. I loved it since I started it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is such a bold, but a bold licorice flavor, but not overly aggressive. It's still got like a nice gentle sort of roundness to it. When you decided to start working with that, so this is a white chocolate that you're using it in. What went into getting that balance right to where it came through how you wanted?
First, I tried with dark, I tried with milk, and I tried with white. Everything I do, I try with all three flavors. And I found this harmony in flavor in a white chocolate with the creaminess of the avocado. It's just, they just get along. They're not exactly with the milk, not too much the chocolate flavor itself with the anise. So, and I thought it was white, and it's just a perfect merge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the texture, like you said, it's got that creaminess. It just works really well with that. Very cool. I'm glad you introduced me to that. I'd never heard of it. You also have a whiskey barrel aged bar. What are you doing with that one?
What we do is, see, I wish it could be a little bit more stronger. We put it on this. I bought this barrel, wooden barrels in the United States, and brought them up. They were made to age whiskey, and we put a whole bunch of nips in them, and every time we put a little bit of whiskey in them, so wake up all these flavors inside, and throw a few maybe a one or two vanilla without opening it, vanilla beans in there, and let it sit there for about 3 months, and we start using every 3 months. But I wish it would be a little bit stronger, honestly. But I'm happy with. I'm working on something I told you already with cacao liqueur.
Yes.
So strong this alcohol that came out from the cacao fruit was 95% alcohol. That thing burns.
Yeah.
So strong. I only do 50 milliliters, a little syringe, into 1.5 kilos of beans. So I put only 100 milliliters for now. It's very strong.
Hmm.
Smells very strong, and I'm hoping to stay strong all the way to the chocolate. I haven't grinded yet, but I'm hoping something good will come out of it.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about that more. That's
Yes.
fun. Are there any other bars that you're making that you're particularly excited about? Anything that kind of keeps your wheels turning?
Yes. We're doing also one with other three. It's called Nance. And I don't know if you try also our old cacao, the one that made with only cacao, even the sugar.
I
Uh,
don't think so. I don't think I did.
what we do is we pick 400 pods, cacao pods, collect the juice out of them, which is about a bucket and a half of juice. And out of that bucket and a half, we come out after we freeze dry that juice. We come out with about a pound and a half of sugar.
Hmm.
So imagine how expensive that pound and a half of sugar
Yeah,
is.
no kidding.
Yes. So and we use that sugar to sweeten up. We make a 9% bar, sweeten up with this sugar. So the whole bar is made and sweetened up with the cacao. So we
Hmm.
call it all cacao. So, and that's a lot of work, can only be seasonal. And I cannot say I can produce sugar a lot because it just takes that bean. I cannot use it anymore, except for butter. And even that, I don't like using the butter that I don't, not from the nips that are not fermented. So, and I need that sugar that I take out to ferment the bean. So those 400 fruit that I take out, the juice, I cannot use them for chocolate. So
Uh,
I cannot play too much and dedicate too much of my
yeah.
harvest to that. But it's very nice. Very there you can taste it kind of intensifies all the flavor of the chocolate because it's almost 100% sweetened up with the same fruit.
Sure.
So it's very unique and but very hard to produce.
How do you process the sugar? Are you boiling that down and then taking like what are you doing?
No, because that otherwise that would be more like a syrup. What I do is I freeze dry it, put it on this trays and freeze dry. We take all the water out until all the juice becomes solid, solid. That I get a spatula and these big chunks like cookies came out, and I'll pulverize it.
Okay.
But it's very hard to get it to in the sugar form. I do make it in a sugar form, but it gets sticky really fast. This stuff sucks humidity from the air.
Mm,
In 5 minutes, it's almost impossible to use. So I have to have the air conditioning blasted. So it just the air inside the chocolate factory is all dry. That so I can work with it. And most of the time I cannot I have to just grind it on top of the bars like that, so that I can use it in that form. Because if I just grind it and pulverize it and dump it in the chocolate, I could do that, but it takes forever because I gotta let it sit there. I cannot just go really quick on it. It takes me for about 100 grams of it. It takes me about 2 hours, 3 hours to put it in the machine
goodness.
because if I go a spoon at a time, it'll just lump up
Oh,
and it starts jumping inside. It's a big rock. I got to do it in just like did like a little mist on the chocolate and then wait that mixed up and then do a little bit more. So it's really hard.
yeah,
So
it sounds like it.
what I do now is that I make sure that I spread evenly on top of it.
That's great. That's so cool. Well, your packaging is, of course, telling a lot of the story of what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about how you developed the packaging and the artwork for your chocolates.
We were lucky. There was a here at the lake. There was a guy from Oregon. He is a designer for one of the paintball companies. I was a paintballer and had a paintball field that I directed, and we met through there, and he said, "I will design your packaging." And he, since paintball boxes and paintball, it's a very colorful,
Yeah.
and he showed us this design, and we loved it.
And then inside your inner wrapper is like hummingbird photos.
Hummingbirds, all kinds of birds that come here to the lake. Some are migratory; they come from the north, and some are local. And I'm a bird photographer, so I go chasing birds when I have chance, and I use my own photography.
Oh, that's so cool. That's great.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the last question I always ask is about the story that a chocolate maker is telling. What story are you telling at Yojoa?
We tell a story about love and passion of chocolate and for the nature. Our chocolate tells a story all about nature and also about growth and helping community because through our chocolate we help Birds of Honduras. It's called Aves de Honduras. We support that organization, and we also help the local school in the village where our plantation is. So it's all about that. It's about love for nature and love for the community.
I love that. Well, Elmer, it's always a delight to talk with you. Your chocolate, of course, is excellent. I learned a bunch just from this conversation. At some point, I've got to get down to Honduras and check this out in person.
You're welcome. You're welcome always to come and visit us, and we would love it to have you here.
Definitely check out Elmer's bars on yojoachocolate.com. I'll link to that in the show notes as well as Yojoa's Instagram. If the Anis Avocado bar is available, seek it out. It is one of the most unique bars I've tasted in a while and introduced me to a botanical ingredient I had literally never heard of once in my life, and it is such a cool story. Growing cacao on site as he does, getting to know the individual trees and how they perform, and having the curiosity to play with processes and flavors as he does, Elmer really is making some of the most entertaining chocolate you'll find today. Listening to him talk about this is a reminder that the experience of chocolate is supposed to be fun, both on the production side and on the side of us, the ones buying and tasting it. Obviously, that is not to say that there aren't hard realities around cacao growing and chocolate production, but in the end, the goal is for this to be something that we're able to celebrate and enjoy, and I'm grateful to folks like Elmer and his family for creating something that we are able to celebrate in this way. There's a few other fun things to mention that I've discovered recently. Maverick Chocolate in Cincinnati has released a new limited edition old-fashioned bar. So those of you who are existing fans of their Prohibition bar made with bourbon-soaked beans, this is supposed to be a little bit bolder version of that, but very similar. I'm not sure how long it'll be available, so jump on that if you're interested. Also, Hendrick's Gin, who was one of the brands responsible for the gin renaissance of the last few decades, has released a new gin made with cacao beans from Lachua, Guatemala. It's called Another Hendrick's, and it is made with those cacao beans and orange blossom, and it's supposed to be entering their new permanent lineup, so you should be able to find it. If anybody's had a chance to try it, let me know. There is another cacao-infused gin actually made in Cincinnati at Northern Road Distillery. They do that in basically in collaboration with Crone Observatory, who grows a whole bunch of tropical plants, including cacao. And I haven't had a chance to get my hands on that either, so I'm going to be seeking that out soon. Also, I have some Google alerts set up just for different combinations of things that I'm interested in related to chocolate and cacao and beer and alcoholic beverages and things. And so I became aware of a bartender in India named Santosh Kukriti, who is apparently serving a cocktail in a cacao shell, like in a dried out cacao shell. That is the glass for the drink. It's got maple caramel and coffee liqueur and a few other things in it. But I thought that was a really interesting concept. If anybody else has seen somebody doing that, serving something in a cacao shell, I would be really interested to hear about it. Finally, I finally got to try a couple of beer-infused bars, some collaborations between a craft chocolate maker and two different breweries. Thanks to Barb Genuario, she got me both of these bars. These are from Sleepwalk Chocolateria in Chicago, which is the chocolate brand from Dark Matter Coffee. And the collabs are with two of the biggest Chicago craft breweries, Revolution and Half Acre. So the one with Half Acre is called Benthic, and it is named after the brewery's massive barrel-aged imperial stout that gets released every fall. So for the bar, Sleepwalk aged Mexico cacao beans from the Tabasco region in emptied Benthic barrels for several months and then made a 70% bar from them. A lot of times when you're looking at a chocolate bar made with stout in some way, you're not really looking for a super noticeable beer flavor so much as you're getting like a layering of roast complexity. And that's definitely what you get here. You get a touch of char and some vanilla, kind of the rich but restrained sweetness, a little bit of chocolate covered cherry and dried fruit, but you really get just like a nice layering of compatible flavors. The other bar is made with Revolution Brewing, and it is quite surprising. So it's the DBXOD L'Étrances bar, which is named after the beer of the same name from Revolution. That beer is a 3-year blend of the brewery's Death Star Imperial Stout, finished in single origin oak from the Trances forest in central France. And after it goes into those barrels after it has spent time in charred American oak barrels. So in this case, they're using the same Tabasco, Mexico cacao beans. They're aging it in those emptied French oak barrels, the Trances French oak barrels. And the character of the finished bar doesn't give you that typical roast and booze notes that you get in a lot of stout infused bar. You get bright floral and vinous notes on the aroma, and then it just kind of blooms out into like golden raisin and red berries and some supporting graham cracker and like dry and spicy red wine on the palate. It is vibrant and colorful and bright. Both of these bars are really well done. One of them takes a more subtle, nuanced approach. The other is more bright and exciting. But definitely both are worth checking out. So if you've had the chance to try either of those, let me know what you think. If not, I'm not sure if these are still available or not. So you might have to do some digging to see if you can still get your hands on these, but I'm sure Sleepwalk will do more collaborations down the road. Thanks so much to Elmer for coming on the show today. Thanks to all of you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Bean to Barstool.